just started forgetting everything. The dementia just slowly got worse and worse. You think in your head you're gonna be a really good grandchild or a really good child and take care of someone who's sick, but in real life it's just so much more difficult. You start to forget who they are. There was this wooden rocking horse, and I would look at it and remind myself that that's who he is. The ability to craft something so beautiful and so intricate is inside of him. He literally carved his legacy out of wood.
Didn't I start making those rocking horses for the kids? Yeah, I started making each one of my grandchildren or family a rocking horse. And that's a little complicated.
I know why the rocking horses? Just
because kids like rocking horses, I think.
Pyrography or wood burning is where you take heated metal tips and you burn designs into wood. I think I like it because you don't add anything to the canvas. You don't add paint, you don't add lead, you don't add ink. You transform the canvas with heat, which I think is really unique. My interest in wood burning came from my interest in all things wood and woodworking, which came from my grandpa. From as far back as I can remember, he was always doing some type of woodworking project. He had his wood shop out in the garage, and I would go in there, and I remember the very first thing and the very first woodworking project I would have ever done, he taught me how to make a picture frame. And I remember it being so complicated, like way more work and so much more complicated than it should have been. It's something I didn't realize when I was young, but looking back and seeing the stuff he's made, everything he did is so clean and polished. And I didn't realize it then, but I know now that that takes so much work and so much effort and so much patience.
Well, you have to have a knack for it to begin with. To take Herm, for example, he couldn't cut a board. Couldn't. He had trouble with it, but I just had a knack to use those tools.
My grandpa was born in 1925. He was the youngest of 13 siblings. They grew up on a farm in South Dakota during the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl. He served in the military during the Korean War, and he married Donna Bauer, and they had 3 kids and raised them in Nebraska. As I was growing up, Grandpa Wally was always known for his super dry, sarcastic humor, his extremely quick wit, and his weird detailed knowledge of what seemed like everything. And he was always either fishing, golfing, or woodworking. But when I was 4, he made what I think is his best work, and it's a wooden rocking horse. He actually made 3 of them, one for each family of grandchildren. The rocking horse is just perfection. He put so much time and so much effort into it, and it still looks just as good today as it did then. And even still to this day, if any kid comes over to our house, they are immediately rocking on Grandpa Wally's rocking horse. When I was in high school, he started to have a lot of knee pain and a lot of back pain, and he slowly started golfing less and fishing less, and he stopped woodworking altogether. And then it was when I was off in college that his dementia set in. Over time, as I would come home from college, it seemed like the dementia just slowly got worse and worse. He just started forgetting everything. He couldn't remember what he just ate. He couldn't remember if he had won the game of cards they played just 10 minutes ago. He still had a pretty strong grasp on the far past, but anything recent just wasn't there. I wish I could say I was a really good grandson, that I visited with him often and that I went over and played cards with him all the time. it's difficult. You think in your head you're gonna be a really good grandchild or a really good child and take care of someone who's sick, for a family member, and be there for them. But in real life, it's just so much more difficult. You start to forget who they are. You can't remember their personality or what they're like because the person in front of you isn't the person that you know. And it's difficult. But every time I came home, there was this wooden rocking horse. And I would look at it and remind myself that that's who he is. And it became this reminder of that's the person he truly is. The ability to craft something so beautiful and so intricate is inside of him. And one day my grandchildren will rock on that rocking horse and they will want to know everything about Grandpa Wally. And they'll feel like they know him on a personal level as they rock on the rocking horse. He literally carved his legacy out of wood. And that's what I hope to do with my work. I mean, my grandchildren are not going to be half as excited as a wood burning hanging on the wall versus a super sweet rocking horse. My legacy isn't very practical. But whenever you physically make something out of wood or whatever it is, long after you're gone, you leave behind this calling card, this little glimpse, and your future family can get to know who you were as a person. And I know one day I won't be on this earth, or I physically won't be able to do what I do. But I like to think that my future children and family will be able to look at my work and see my legacy. That through my wood burnings, in some way, I'll live on.